I just thought a coda to my last posting, and I'm shortly going to go to bed, so I'm feeling quite ill, really. But I've just posted a piece about the person who has sought asylum in Norway and has fled from the Wagner Brigade. Now, he's fled with tales, propaganda pushed out by Prigozhin that he had actually led a Scandinavian brigade within the Wagner troop. Goodness knows what truth that might be, but it seems all pretense at suggesting that it is Ukraine rather than Russia that has been using mercenaries has gone. It's Russia that's been using mercenaries, and Russia has been using Western mercenaries, apparently. That may be true, it may not be true. Frankly, who cares? But I am slightly shocked to have had a message from one person who's occasionally commented, telling me that I'm the most racist person that he has ever come across. He or she, I don't know. Because I have made it quite clear that the person who has defected claims that he has evidence of Russian human rights abuse, of Russian war crimes. He has evidence of summary executions. He has evidence of the mistreatment of prisoners, presumably torture. Those are the two bits of information that have been relayed and broadcast in the reports about the asylum request. So not my words, I'm simply repeating what I've read. But, you know, if by repeating that here there seems to be someone with evidence of Russian war crimes, well, he's not the only person with evidence of Russian war crimes. We also had the evidence of Butcher. We also have the evidence of night after night the missile attacks on civilian targets across Ukraine. And particularly what I find so extraordinary is the lack of military content in Lviv, and yet the constant bombardment of this town, which is so far away from the Donbass and the four areas that Putin has laid claim to and has legislated are part of Russian territory. What utter rot. Again and again and again, the lie is revealed. It is the Russians who are behaving in a fascistic way, putting out laws that ban books, putting out laws that ban people for their preferences, putting out laws that make freedom of speech impossible. This is fascistic. And by the way, Rishi Sunak and his friends should be very careful in what they do. Fascism is not necessarily confined only to Slavic nations. But yeah, Mr. Putin is behaving in a fascistic way. Mr. Zelensky doesn't seem to be doing so. And yet Zelensky was the one who Putin claimed was the fascist, was the Nazi. Zelensky was the one whom Putin claimed was employing mercenaries, and yet it is the Wagner Brigade that is so proud of its conquest or its stated conquest of the salt mines. This is a foul and tyrannous regime that has taken over Moscow. And it's not only tyrannizing Ukraine, its neighboring state, it's also tyrannizing its own people, putting out a diet of propaganda that we haven't seen in 70 years. This is why it needs to be stated, and this is why it needs to be called out. So those people who want to attack me on here, please go ahead. Why don't you try doing it in your own language? I'm tired of reading this half-baked and barely coherent English. Just do it in Russian. It makes so much more sense. Спасибо.